Hi, I'm Jason Houtsma from worshipartistry.com, and this is a cram session for the song Crowns Down by Gateway Worship. Now here's the thing, we all know that it's best to practice in advance, really dial in all your parts. That's why Worship Artistry breaks down lessons in all these different chapters and tabs and chord charts and everything you need to really master the song. But I do see the analytics on the website, and I know a lot of you are practicing on Saturday night, getting ready for Sunday. Now, I'm hoping that is just for a little refresh from what you've already learned, but if you're anything like me in college, you might just be cramming. And you know what? You can kind of get away with that if you're smart about it, but it's not a great long-term strategy. Ask me about my scholarship in the comments section. So this video is just going to focus on, here are the couple things you need to do to hit this song, and then some ways you can fudge your way through the rest. Let's get started. First off, real quick, I just want to show you my guitar tone on this song. I stay on my middle position. I have just a real light drive on the quad cortex here. I will bring in a little bit of extra drive later, and I do have a quarter note delay. Just kind of a real strong first hit, and then it kind of dies down really quickly. We'll talk about when we add drive later, but that will get you by. Once again, you could do a whole lot of other stuff, but that'll get you most of the way there. All right, let's take a look at actually how to play the song. Now, anytime you're trying to learn a song, it's really helpful to just have the chord chart in front of you. You don't want to get married to the chord chart, but at least gives you the format of the song. So you'll notice this song is in B flat, but fortunately for us, we're just going to capo on the 3rd fret and play it like it's in the key of G. And this is what they do on the record as well, so don't get mad at me and say I'm cheating. And let's be honest, this whole video is really about cheating. Now let's take a look at the form of the song. The main things we're going to focus on is there's a riff on the intro. Then in verse 1, we're going to completely drop out. Then there's a main riff on the chorus. And then even though there's something different on the actual record, we're just going to repeat what we did in the intro. We're just going to kind of copy and paste our intro parts. On verse 2, I'm going to give you a little cheat riff. There's a cool riff on there, but we're going to make it easier. Then we're going to go back to the chorus. It's the same riff. Instrumental, we're going to drop out. And then we're going to use a repetitive riff on the bridge, which is actually used in the song to actually play through the whole thing so that we get the builds in the right spot, but we don't have to learn all the things leading up to it. And then that's going to get us through the rest of the song. So let's start off with this intro riff. It's real simple. It sounds like this. So real simple part, obviously it's just following what the piano is doing. So if you have a good piano player, you could just lay this part off if this is all like way too much, but I think you can handle it. Essentially, we're starting on the first note. We're up here on the 5th fret in relationship to the capo on the D. And we're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it just repeats. 3 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Real simple part. The other thing that you could do is if you wanted to, you could just drop back. You might give it a little too much oomph in the beginning, but if you wanted to give a little bit of a chord strum here, you can actually do the same thing on the E string and utilize the open G. Just another way to give it like a little bit extra, especially kind of later in the song, but we're gonna be able to use that intro riff for all the other intros. Even though the actual song kind of does a couple little different things with octaves and whatnot, this will get you by, and that's what we're trying to do. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at verse 1. Like I said, verse 1, we're just gonna skip right over it because we don't actually play. And then we have our main riff that comes in on the first chorus. Now, this is going to be important. We're going to use this a lot. It's going to sound like this.
So I will lay my crowns down at your feet. You are holy, holy, and I will give my life as an offering. You are worthy.
Real simple part. And like I said, we're gonna use it throughout the song. So all that is you're starting on your open G, and we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're gonna move positions there. Now, the way that you can kind of get past that, if you wanted to, you can use your middle finger. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2 E and. And all that is it's just your ring finger, 1 and 2 E and. So you're pulling off, pull off right there. And then you can count this. But I find it's actually much easier to just think about it follows the melody, right? So you have that I will lay my crowns down at your feet. You are worthy, so worthy. Then that way you don't even have to think about counting. It's like I'm just following the melody and adding this one little riff. And that's gonna work for your choruses. Now, later on in the song, when the song builds, we're gonna do the same exact riff, but we're going to use an octave to build the song. So we're gonna give it a little bit of extra drive, and we're gonna basically play the same riff an octave higher. So starting on what looks like the 11th fret is actually 8th in relationship to the capo, and we're just 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now because we've shifted to the B string, instead of having to go up a fret, we're already right there. Right, so once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2 E and 3, 4. And then we're gonna drop back to what looks like 11. Same exact riff, just an octave higher. And what's nice about it, it starts on the note it ends on. And that's going to cover all of your choruses. So you can kind of think about the song, where do you want to give it a lift? That's where you can bring the octave in. If you wanted to, you could kind of start hammering it out a little harder, just. Would be another way to give it more of a lift, just depending on how many times you end up playing that part. So that's all the choruses and all the intros. You're covered. Now, real quick note on verse 2. There's kind of a moving riff that happens in there. I teach it on the site, but we don't have time to learn that right now. So all we're going to do is just do a palm muted 16th note pattern just on our open G. Just. And that will fit over all the chord changes and give us the effect and the movement that the other part is playing in the song. So the electric guitar has that role to give it a little bit of a lift. This does the job without getting in the weeds on all the different notes. Sounds like this in context.
Here at your altar to seek your face, broken and put out without restraint.
Okay, so we're almost done. All right, we've got our intros, we've got our choruses. We're just playing chords in every other section. Now, for the bridge, there's kind of this long build. I don't want you to worry about that. There is one riff that gets repeated, and I'll show you here. It actually happens over the bridge. Doesn't do it all 4 times, but it kind of does halfway through. Then we do the bridge twice. It'll do the same riff. Then there's an instrumental with hits. Does not matter. We're going to do the same riff. And then there's this outro. We're going to do the same riff. And they actually do that on the record, so we're not being weird about it. We're not just being super repetitive. This is kind of a riff that holds everything else down while everything else builds around it. And it's going to sound like this in context.
Holy, holy, holy is the Lamb upon the throne. We join with God in heaven in the everlasting song. Holy, holy, holy is the Lamb upon the throne. We join with God in heaven in the everlasting song.
Now, all we're just sliding from our 2nd fret of our G to our 4th fret, catching the open B string, and then our pointer finger will go to the 3rd fret of the E. So we get a 1 E and is the feel there. And then we're on the offbeat, so we're just going to bounce back and forth between our high E string and either our open B or our G. It doesn't really matter, it's the same note. So we get that. But then we always finish on the 2nd fret, which sets us up again. And that's it for this song. Like I said, there are other riffs to learn if you need tablature or you want chord charts in different keys, or you want to practice in different keys and want to practice along with the band. We have all that at worshipartistry.com. You can go there for a free trial, but I think you're probably in a hurry, so get those parts down and you should be in good shape.